have destroyed you. A deadly shot from nowhere.
It's the best thing we've ever done. Like,
wow.
And it's not even close. It's not even close.
Is Claptrap back?
What is going on, ladies and genitals? Yodi Slate here, bringing you episode 1 of my legendary weapons guide for Borderlands 2. Today I will be showing you where to find the Hellfire.
When people think of Borderlands, they think about a lot of things. They might think about the guns, the loot, the wacky NPCs, or the cel-shaded art style.
Yes! Yes! Yes!
So I want to tackle a topic that I could probably make 1,000 videos trying to break down, yet somehow I'd still forget something that makes this game as timeless and endlessly replayable as it is today. So instead of just listing the typical things that you hear in a video like this, yes, there are many amazing things about this video game that make it special, including the characters, the story, the DLCs, the headhunters, the DLC vault hunters, the deep end game, which includes rare drops, raid bosses, crazy build variety, optional difficulty in OP10 for people wanting a harder difficulty after UVHM. The list just goes on and on. But instead of going into all that, I want to talk about why I personally find it so special, while sharing some of my early memories with the game as a player who's continued to play for the last 12 years since release. But I want to take a time machine back to the simple times when nobody knew that Borderlands 2 was the looter shooter of all time. Alright, so rolling the clocks all the way back to October of 2012, Borderlands 2 was released just a few weeks ago, and I'm a solid 9 years old at the time. I had actually played the first Borderlands game before this. Now, I wasn't very good, nor did I beat the game, but I did enjoy it, and I would later go on to appreciate it even more, even saying that it's my second favorite in the franchise to this current point. But at the time, it was just, another cool game. Nothing crazy, but it was fun. Then I went over to my cousin's house on this faithful day in October of 2012. Now, some of you may know him as Milkman from past videos, but it wasn't him that was super interesting on this particular day. And no offense to the guy, he knows I love him to death, but it was what I saw on the living room TV the moment that I walked in. Obviously, I had no idea at the time, but knowing what I know now, this was the first time that I ever put my eyes on, in my opinion, the greatest video game of all time. So to lay it out for you guys, I saw my cousin's dad and older brother, who was in his early 20s at the time, playing split screen against Saturn, just hunkered up in this little shack, just firing at him, just getting rid of every bullet they can, trying to kill this guy. They were both close to level 50 already and coming towards the end of the game. If you didn't know, level 50 was actually the max at the time when the game launched. Now keep in mind, these are details that I can put together now in retrospect, as at the time, I just remembered being amazed at the massive boss and how they were struggling against him. But it wasn't until December that I'd get my eyes on Borderlands 2 again. This time we were hanging out at my house and decided walking to my cousin's, where I'd again go into his house and see just his dad this time maxed out at level 50, and he says to my cousin as we come in, "Hey, look what legendary I got from this new boss." And my cousin's like, "What did you get? Let's see it." Whatever. And he opens up his inventory and shows us this SMG in his hands, and his dad says, "The Hellfire. I got it from the treasury at the end of this DLC. It's fucking badass." And he's speaking on the treasure room, if you're not aware, that you get after you kill the Leviathan, which was a part of the brand new DLC at the time, that being Captain Scarlet's DLC. And I couldn't believe it. Not only did this game have a quote-unquote legendary called the Hellfire, but when I was younger, a couple of years before this event, I went to play laser tag at a local arcade, and the first time I went and got a little gun. All the little guns have these names that are on them, so that like when you're done playing laser tag or whatever, you can go and see the score. And the first time that I ever played, the name that I got was Hellfire. And now seeing this cool ass weapon in a video game with the same name, it always stuck with me, and it would later go on to become my gamer tag on Xbox, and that's kind of the backstory behind that name. Big shocker, I know. Borderlands YouTuber named Hellfire reveals that his name is partially that because of the gun in the game called the Hellfire.
Hey, I'm not surprised, motherfuckers.
And when I went back home that day, it stuck with me just how cool this game looked. So a few weeks went by and I ended up at Walmart with my grandma, where I would actually get some of my Christmas presents early this year. Not only did I get Minecraft Xbox 360 edition, I also got Borderlands 2, which was what I really wanted at the time, but this trip to the store happened to be the same place that I found out Minecraft was on disc for the first time. So yeah, I ended up getting 2 goated games in one day. Regardless, we grocery shop and eventually go home and I get to play the almighty Borderlands 2, in which I would absolutely adore the bright and vibrant colors and unique style that the game had. And then at 0, I ran into my first roadblock, that being Mr. Captain Flint.
Let's turn up the heat!
This big motherfucker was whooping my ass time and time again until I eventually just had to put down the controller. I got on Minecraft and instead of crashing out over Flint, I went ahead and just built myself some ugly ass house in creative mode instead. The next day rolls around and I go back over to my cousin's, and I don't know if I mentioned it yet, but my grandparents' house was a walking distance from where they were at. So I go to his house and I tell him about how I got the game, and we immediately start walking back to my place, where on the way I'm sitting there telling him about how I'm stuck on this one boss. And he's laughing at me. He knows what boss I'm talking about at a certain point, and he's just fucking giggling because he knows how far past it he is on his personal character at his house. But anyways, he says he can help. So we get back to my place, and sure enough, we start up some new characters together, and we ended up defeating Captain Flint on the first try. My problem was not realizing that he's invincible during his fire phase. You know, kids being fucking stupid, what else is new? But once I realized that, I never struggled against him again. But my lord, to say I wasn't flabbergasted by the difficulty of such an early boss would be an absolute understatement. This would intrigue me and make me want to play further, but I knew I would need to learn more about the game. Enter the land of Borderlands YouTube.
I want to buy the PlayStation 4 first. Oh my god! Is that an Infinity? Are you kidding? Oh, rapid!
Here to say here, bringing you a very new Borderlands 2 Let's Play. Yes, I'm going to be doing an entire Let's Play with the new Krieg, the Psycho character. We're going to do a speed run to level 61.
Come on, baby, come on, baby, come on, baby! Ah! What? What the fuck? Are you serious?
Now I have to preference this, my grandma wouldn't get internet at her house until January of 2013, so there was a period of time where on the weekends she would go up to work to basically just make us some extra money, and since no one was there, I could actually go with her if I wanted. So I did just that on one of these weekends and decided to connect to her work's internet so that I could watch some videos about this new game that I just got. And it was actually there where I would watch my first ever videos on Borderlands 2, including Yotslaya's iconic weapon guide series. And by the time January did roll around, I was hooked on Borderlands 2 YouTube content, trying to figure out how to farm every single legendary item the game had at the time. I started playing with some friends at school that summer, and I remember me and a good friend Kevin just pouring hours into the game that summer. For those of you that have seen this video where I spoke on how I was an asshole in Borderlands 2, you'll probably remember him from that story, but man, I'm telling you, this moment that I found out about farming legendaries, even though the drop odds at the time were all around 1 to 5% at best, I didn't care. The idea of working for a badass gun that would make my character stronger was insane to me at the time. And sure, I watched other stuff too, but there was just something about those early days of BL2. Once I found out about how rare the legendary guns were, I was absolutely addicted. I began learning everything about the game from all of the amazing creators who really led the scene at the time with information and entertaining content that still today has stuck with me. 12 years later, and now today I make my own Borderlands content, and the reasons I do it remain the same as those who helped me learn the shit that I know about Borderlands 2, to hopefully have you, the viewer, feel like your time wasn't wasted by watching what I put up. Hopefully I taught you something, or maybe just made you laugh. Regardless, that's one of the reasons that I continue to make Borderlands content on all of these older games. I hold these memories close because I know that I'll never be able to experience them again, and by sharing them with you, it helps me further illustrate to you how important this series is to me. Because I remember being a kid and not having the best time at points. You know, parents weren't really around and school never really clicked with me once I got old enough to, make up my own things, have my own opinions on shit. While I still would go on to graduate high school and live rather comfortably, Borderlands 2 was a game that helped me when no one else really could. I was able to forget about anything going on and just focus on my game, and when I go back to the game now, I get that same enjoyment as I did when I first played it, and Hell, like I said, I started up a 0 just a few nights ago and beat the entire game the very next night. Already at Sanctuary and TVHM, and that's the character that you've been seeing throughout this entire video. But lately an example would be like, I've been pretty sick and slowly recovering, but I've been coughing so damn much that it's actually left me with what I can only assume to be, is probably bruised ribs. And it hurts a bit to breathe or even move, but I'm confident that I'll get better soon. But even in all of this bullshit, I can still turn on this game and let a few hours just bleed away, not even thinking twice about it or caring where the time went. That's how special this game is. And no matter how much time has gone by, this game has remained a constant for me, and it likely always will. That's really it for me today though, guys. I want to thank you all so much for watching this video in its entirety, and if you did enjoy it, consider pressing the like button and subscribing if you guys are new. Or for anyone wanting to go the extra step, you can become a Borderlands bin today, like my absolute ballers, Slayer75, Big LMAO RPG, and Tony Owen. Thank you guys for the extra support. Just remember that it's never expected, but always much appreciated. I also want to give a quick shout out to my graphic designer, Gaz. He's the one who made my profile picture and banner that you guys have seen for the last, year and some change now. And he also made this awesome new screen for my channel members. So shout out to him for that. I will leave the links down below for anybody looking for some graphic designs or maybe just some, cover arts, whatever it might be. He will have all of his links in future uploads for anybody that's interested. But most importantly, remember that I love you all to death. I want you to take it easy out there. Stay safe. And with that, I will see you all in the next one.